Om Sahana Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are currently studying the lesson, the illusions, Maya. We'll continue studying there. I think we finished the second topic, the world and illusion, isn't it? And we have to start with intrinsic and extrinsic.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll start with reading this topic, intrinsic and extrinsic.
Yes, sir. Intrinsic and extrinsic illusions. People have observed a shoe being made by a shoemaker, a dress being made by a dressmaker, a pot by a pot maker. They look at the world and conclude there must be a world maker, that there must have been a creator who created the world. They christened him God. Their conclusion sounds plausible, quite reasonable, but then it is a mere theory, a supposition, speculation. If you maintain this theory that God created the world, you separate God from the world. You segregate God and the world, thereby restrict the all-pervading nature of God. You place a limitation on the infinite being. Moreover, by making God a creator, you attribute motives, desire to God. You reduce God to the status of a shoemaker, a dressmaker, a pot maker. You must realize the origin of the world is well beyond the reach of the human intellect. The human intellect cannot conceive God. Give up that idea. Do not lead yourself to superstitious beliefs. Let your approach to the world be rational. Proceed from the known to the unknown. Do not take anything for granted. Through study, reflection, and meditation, you must gradually unveil your real self. Realize your true self. Discover your supreme being. Attain spiritual enlightenment. You will then realize the extraordinary illusion you were caught up in. The self-realized have declared from their own experience that the world that you perceive is just an illusory projection upon the supreme reality, that there are two illusions playing in the world, termed as intrinsic and extrinsic, which have held the mass of humanity in total delusion. An intrinsic illusion is one in which the real object and its illusion do not coexist. When the object is cognized, the illusion disappears. And when the illusion appears, the object disappears. The object and image do not appear together. For example, a child misapprehends a post in the dark to be a ghost. The child sees the ghost. It does not see the post. You see the post. You do not see the ghost. You then bring in light. Illumine the post. The child now cognizes the post. Instantly, the ghost is gone. You will notice that only one of them appears at a time. It is either the post or the ghost. They can never appear together to the same person at one time. That is an intrinsic illusion. An extrinsic illusion is one in which the object, image, and the medium, which causes the image, appear together. All three are present at the same time. An example of an extrinsic illusion is reflection in a mirror. You see your image in the mirror. The mirror is the medium that produces your reflection. In this illusion, you, your reflection, and the mirror all appear together. The object, image, and the medium present themselves simultaneously. That is extrinsic illusion. There is yet another interesting phenomena about these illusions. The possibility of both the intrinsic and extrinsic facets appearing simultaneously in a single illusion. A boy treads on a rope in the dark, mistakes it for a snake. He sees a snake. He does not see the rope. That is an intrinsic illusion, where only one of the two is seen, the snake and not the rope. Now follow carefully. You will find therein an extrinsic illusion created as well. Ask the boy to describe the snake he has seen. He says it is 6 feet long, 4 inches thick, black in color. Examine the rope. You find the rope is 6 feet long, 4 inches thick, black. The boy's description of the snake fits exactly with that of the rope. The properties of the rope have mirrored themselves in the illusory snake. The properties of the snake is merely a reflection of the properties of the rope. And the medium that has brought up this reflection is the illusory snake. The moment the snake was projected upon the rope, the snake becomes the medium for the properties of the rope and the properties of the snake to appear together at one time. Thus, the two sets of properties and the medium present themselves simultaneously. All three coexist. That is an extrinsic illusion. Human beings are caught up in both intrinsic and extrinsic illusions in their experience of the world. The world appears to you as a pluralistic phenomena of things and beings, as an infinite expression of time, space, and causation. But the entire world is nothing but Brahman. Brahman alone exists, but you see the world, not Brahman. Like the boy sees a snake and not the rope, you see a world where there is Brahman. That is the intrinsic illusion. In the same phenomena, there is an extrinsic illusion as well. Brahman is said to be eternal, all-pervading, infinite. You find these properties in the world as well. The world seems to have come from eternity and going into eternity. It is all-pervasive, and its chain of causation runs into infinity. Thus, the world also appears to be eternal, all-pervading, infinite. You see the properties of Brahman clearly reflected in the properties of the world. The medium that has caused this reflection is the world itself. The moment the world appears, the three aspects of an extrinsic illusion show up. The two sets of properties and the medium all appearing at one time. That is the extrinsic illusion. Brahman is the one reality existing everywhere at all times. Brahman is Atman, the supreme self within. It is ignorance of Brahman, the ignorance of self, that projects the two illusions. The non-apprehension of self causes the misapprehension of the world. You do not see supreme reality. Instead, you see the world. You also see the attributes of reality in the world. The solid-seeming world is a play of the illusions, a meaningless projection. Strive hard to get out of these illusions you are lost in. Be it said to the credit of prevailing religions that they have helped in removing one of the two illusions. At best, they have succeeded in overcoming the extrinsic illusion. Undoubtedly approached the reality, but that is not reaching the reality. Vedanta takes you well beyond that, removes not only the extrinsic but the intrinsic illusion as well. provides you with the knowledge of the Supreme Self within. Both the illusions disappear. You apprehend the ultimate reality, merge with Brahman. Self-realization, God-realization comes in two stages. The earlier is partial realization, known as Savikalpa Samadhi, and the final is total realization, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. A spiritual seeker attains partial realization when he removes the extrinsic illusion alone. In that stage, he is on the verge but not experiencing total realization, since the intrinsic illusion still lingers. When he sees divinity in every object and being, all over, in a sinner or saint, he sees God alone everywhere. He experiences the unifying divinity in the diversities of the world. No division, no demarcation, no denominations, only divinity. But the duality still remains. His individuality is there to recognize divinity everywhere. It is the state of partial realization. Vedanta takes the seeker beyond the state of partial realization to total realization of the Supreme Self by overcoming the intrinsic illusion as well, to Nirvikalpa Samadhi. In partial realization, the seeker is in the state of duality. He has no doubt brought the entire pluralistic phenomena into a single mass of divinity. He finds God all over, but then there is a duality of himself and God. He sees God different from himself, and when he realizes the Supreme Self within, his individuality merges with divinity. The intrinsic illusion also vanishes. He becomes one with God, attains total realization, absolute enlightenment.
Quite a few points here. We will take up separately each one, understand, and then we will synthesize everything together. The first point here is you see anything that exists should have been created, and there should be a creator behind it. This is the argument. Example, you observe a shoemaker. You see a shoe, and then you observe the shoemaker making the shoe. Then you make the connection. What? The shoemaker made the shoe. Meaning, without the creator, the creation could not have happened. Second, the creator uses some raw material to make the creation. So first is the creator. Second is the material that he uses to create. Based on this worldly understanding that we all have, the question that is posed is, God as the creator, with what he created, what is the raw material he used to create the world? Vedanta comes and says this argument that God being the creator of the world is not acceptable, has its own fallacy. What is the fallacy? The first fallacy is the creator always has a purpose to create. The pot maker has a purpose to create the pot. The clay doesn't become pot by itself. Correct? We have seen these arguments in Atma Bodha already, and we are just revisiting it again and again and again. Any number of times we can revisit it. The clay doesn't become a pot by itself. Wherever there is a clay, does it become pot? It doesn't. Therefore, there is a pot maker converting the clay into a pot. And for the pot maker to convert clay into pot, there is a purpose. Whatever be the purpose, we are not discussing what the purpose is. But then we understand there has to be a purpose. If we say what is the purpose for God to create the world, it's absurd, because purpose is nothing but a desire, a utility. Purpose means a desire, a utility. Now, what is the desire? What is the utility that God has to create the world? Then we reduce God to any one of us. He's also like any one of us, maybe slightly more powerful, maybe slightly more better, that's all. But he's also like any one of us. Another school will come and give an argument. No. Creating the world is God's play. Leela it is. It is the Leela of God. At his will, he creates the world. At his will, it's play. It is God's play. Leela it is. And he can do what he wants. And he is unquestionable. God is an unquestionable authority. You can't go and ask him, for you to get entertained, why do you have to create us? Why can't you find better avenues for entertaining yourself rather than creating us, making us go through all this pain? It means what? The creation, the created world, which is of dvandvas, the opposites, which creates a lot of sorrow, cannot be said a loving, compassionate God as the creator who created this world. For which another argument, no, God only created it, it is your own karma. Another argument, God only created the world, it is your karma. What is the argument against that? When he created, he is responsible for the creator is responsible for the karma also. So you cannot say he created, but responsibility is yours. Vedanta comes and says all this idea as God as the creator is very good, acceptable, as long as you do not question it. As long as you do not think about it, as long as you do not question it, it is acceptable. It is acceptable. The moment you start questioning, you understand all these arguments doesn't stand the test of ordinary logic and reason. Forget about all the deeper things. Even the ordinary sense of logic and reason, it is very illogical. That is the first lesson in understanding illusion. The first lesson in understanding illusion is what? The responsibility for creation is not. The responsibility for creation is taken away from God. When responsibility for creation is taken away from God, then who's responsible? Maya is responsible. The responsibility is put on Maya, not on God. That's how we are going to conclude. And Anshu read the text and taught us in 5 minutes everything. Yeah. She taught us so fast, she taught us. I was so amazed. I said, wow, better we'll go to the next topic, world is God, because it is so, she taught us so fast. And I can't teach like her. I can't teach so fast. I will teach very slowly. The first thing is what? Vedanta eliminates God. Responsibility for creation doesn't belong to God. The responsibility for creation is Maya. Very, very important lesson in Vedanta. Very, very important point, very, very important fact to be understood. And what are the arguments that we give? If God created the world, where was he before creation? Somewhere. Please. If you say he was transcendent then and needed no support, where is he now? In the same place. Wherever he was before creation, he is in the same place now also. World only came out of him. It means straight away there is a division that has happened. What is the division? The creator is different, the created is different. The creator and the creation are different. If before the world only God was there, how he could have made this world without any raw material? For which the story says, no, the raw material he took out from himself. The raw material, he took out from himself the raw material and created the world. And what is God? If the raw material came from God, what is God? All knowledge. What is God? All knowledge, all love, all powerful. And you look at the creation, there is no knowledge. Yeah, there is no all knowledge. You can say all ignorance or limited knowledge, we can say. So it's not because the raw material, if God has taken the raw material out of one's own self, then the creation also must be of the same thing. Correct? Then what do you see in the world? If God is all knowledge, everything in the world has only limited knowledge. If God is all love, there is no such thing called love in the world. If God is all pervading, you are not even chair pervading, isn't it? You are not even chair pervading, you are not even room pervading. Where is this thing called all pervading? So all the attributes of God becomes redundant as far as the world is concerned, because that is not the raw material. If you say raw material was always existing, it means the world was always existing. There is no such thing called creation after that. Correct? Venkatachalam, Purida? Creation means it should not exist at one point of time. If something is existing at all periods of time, how can you call it as a creation? It means it is there always. You are faced with this endless regression. If you say, no, raw material came up naturally and God has nothing to do with the raw material, again you get into another fallacy. What? The natural raw material is the creator of the world and God has nothing to do with it. And the most accepted theological argument, which is the most silly and absurd also, is this. God created the world by an act of his own will without any raw material. Everybody accepts this. It is his own Leela. This is his own Leela. He created the world without any raw material. Why we can't accept it? If we accept this argument, what is the fallacy that we are falling under? The fallacy that we are falling under is attributing Phallus attributing mistakes to God. Because out of your will, you create billions and billions to go through stress, sorrow, suffering, depression. And then to get rid of that stress, sorrow, suffering, depression, what that millions and billions should do? Praise his glories, sing his glories, fall at his feet, do Archana, Abhisheka, Puja, Sahasranama, everything for him, and then he will be pleased by all this, and then he will grant you liberation. If God is so perfect, why he will want all this from man? So God as the creator, if you look at it from any angle, no, he only created the world so that people can exhaust their karmas. Where did they come from in the first place to create a karma? For God to create the world so that people can get rid of karma. All the arguments as God as the creator of the world has to be dismissed. Just God created this world out of love. It doesn't look like it is created out of love. Looks like it is created for wanting people to suffer. It doesn't look like it is out of love. Because out of love it is created, only Swarga should be there. Dvandvas should not be there. Pairs of opposites should not be there. If at all something is love, what will you do? No. As long as God is there, he will go on creating. It means creating that he is bound by, so he is also bound by something. What? He is not free then. He has to necessarily create the world, no? If he has to necessarily create the world, then he is not transcendent, he is not free. In the argument, we discuss, and then we finally come to one conclusion. What is the conclusion? God created the world is dismissed. The long conditioning will not allow us to accept this fact. We have to repeatedly go through this analysis to accept this. What? As though God created the world. If God didn't create the world, then what is this? How is it? It is the play of Maya by the two illusions, intrinsic and extrinsic. Then what is this world? It is the play of Maya caused by these two illusions. You cross over Maya, you understand that there is no creation, there is no creator, there is no creation. So, first thing that we remove from our analysis is what? God as the creator is reducing God to the status of a shoemaker, pot maker, and he is answerable to you, no? If you say God is the creator, how dare we are sitting and asking God all these questions? Because we call him as the creator. The moment we call him as the creator, he becomes responsible to answer all these questions. Vedanta comes and says, don't do the silly things, because it is arising out of a misunderstanding that God is the creator. Vedanta says the creator and the created is always separate. Remember when we did the clay pot analysis, we did this. Go over it. Any number of times go over it. More and more you go through all that, more and more it is better. We will do it again. Don't worry. We will keep doing it again and again. And Okay. What is the, for the pot to be created, we spoke about causes. What are the causes that we spoke about? The material cause, the instrumental cause, and the efficient cause. We spoke about these three. The material cause, the instrumental cause, the efficient cause, the intelligent cause. The efficient cause is the pot maker. The instrument cause is the wheel, the stamba, the post that you have to use to rotate the wheel, the sunlight, all these are instrumental cause. The third one is material cause. What is the material cause? The clay. The clay is the material cause. Pot maker is the efficient cause. The pot wheel, the pole, etc. is the instrumental cause. What a very good analysis. It's very good as far as the pot is concerned. When you come to the world, it doesn't, there is a fallacy. And Vedanta is bold enough to explain its viewpoint, and it's also bold enough to explain the fallacy. What is the fallacy? The instrumental cause and the efficient cause and the material cause, all three are one and the same. The instrumental cause, the material cause, the efficient cause, all three are one and the same. Human intellect cannot conceive it. The human intellect cannot conceive how all these three can be one entity. For any creation to happen, there has to be three separate entities: the efficient, the material, the instrumental. When it comes to world and God, all three are one. It means what? Wherever there is clay, it will turn into pot all by itself, automatically. Does it happen like that? Imagine if it happens, what will happen? It doesn't happen like that. Therefore, first thing that is understood is what? The responsibility of the world is not on God. Then who's responsible for creation? Then who's responsible for creation of this world? The answer is Maya. Maya is responsible. And by eliminating this Maya, and Maya is pure ignorance. Maya is nothing but ignorance. And knowledge, by knowledge removing the ignorance, reveals the truth. That is what Vedantic explanation. Now we will go to the next step. How does this Maya happen? Maya happens even though we have spent a lot of time understanding Maya as indeterminable, anirvachaniya. Maya is that which cannot be explained. And that which cannot be explained, and we are explaining for 4 weeks already, no? That which cannot be explained, just shut up and go to the next lesson. Yeah. That which cannot be explained, is already said for 4 weeks. I don't know how long, how many more weeks it will take to conclude this intrinsic and extrinsic. So what is this indeterminable? How all the three is in one cannot be understood. What is the three? The efficient, the instrumental, and material. All it's something that is beyond the human intellect. Okay, what happened? In the presence of an object, there is a potential for not knowing that object as it is. Wherever something is present, there is a potential of not knowing it as it is. The three stages is called apprehension, non-apprehension, misapprehension. The three stages: apprehension, non-apprehension, misapprehension. Apprehension is you know it as it is. Non-apprehension is not knowing it as it is. What is misapprehension? Seeing it as something else. Not seeing it as it is non-apprehension. Seeing it as something else is misapprehension. The non-apprehension is intrinsic. The misapprehensions are extrinsic. Again, I repeat, carefully follow. Intrinsic is the non-apprehension. Extrinsic is the misapprehensions. And when you misapprehend, this is where Maya comes in. When you misapprehend, the qualities and attributes of the original substratum, what we call as adhishtanam, will be faithfully reflected in the misapprehension. So not only you don't see it as it is, you see it as something else. And when you see it as something else, you are able to define it, no? When you are defining it, you are bringing in attributes and properties. And what are those properties and to whom does this, to what does this attributes and properties belong to? The attributes and properties belongs to the original. What is that original? That original is called adhishtanam. In Sanskrit, it's called adhishtanam in Sanskrit, the substratum. Rope is the substratum. You don't see the rope as rope. And you misunderstand it as the snake. When you are asked to describe the snake, whatever you describe as the properties of the snake, on deeper scrutiny, you will find that the properties of the snake is nothing but the properties of the rope wrongly attributed. This is the play of the intrinsic illusion and the extrinsic illusion. And finally, the last point is the phenomena of the play of illusions and how you are caught up in this illusion. And finally, when you see the reality, when you apprehend, the apprehension of reality happens in two stages. Beautiful it is. Savikalpa Samadhi and Nirvikalpa Samadhi. One of the longest topics which has so many points in it that needs to be elaborated is this topic. First you have to establish, take away God as the creator. Then you have to establish intrinsic illusion separately. Then you have to establish extrinsic illusion separately. And then you have to understand how a human being is caught in both at the same time. And then how do you get out of it? And when you get out of it, there are two stages. What are the two stages? Sa Vikalpa and Ni Vikalpa. So Vikalpa Samadhi, Sa Vikalpa, Nir Vikalpa. When we go there, I'll elaborate that also. When we go there. First, having relieved God of the responsibility, we have done a great favor to God now. What? God is relieved. Abbada. This Vedanta class people are so good. So brilliant that they have relieved me now. What did they relieve me of? He need not stand in the witness box and ask and answer all our questions. Like Swamiji says, with the chicken intellect, we ask God so many questions and God has to answer. In the witness box, he has to stand and answer all our questions. So first thing, in Vedanta class, we give relief to God, Shankar. Purida? We don't go to relief from God. We relieve God. That's why God likes Vedanta people a lot. Because who grants him relief? Everybody makes him responsible. We are the only people who say we sympathize with God. Balasubramaniam. Pavam. Yeah, poor God. We sympathize with God. Pavam pa. Our utranga taniya. So we keep. So first thing what we have done, we have relieved God. Then what is this world? Then how is this world? Then now how to explain the phenomena of the world? Second lesson starts. What is the second lesson? The world that you see is nothing but the play of two illusions. It is called intrinsic illusion and extrinsic illusion. For understanding purposes, we will see them separately. When we are seeing them separately, we will give separate examples. At the third step only, we will combine both. So, first we will define what is intrinsic illusion. Hopefully, we will conclude intrinsic illusion today. First, we will define what is intrinsic illusion. In intrinsic illusion, the real object and its illusion do not coexist. Only one exists. So the condition for intrinsic illusion is what? The real and the illusion cannot coexist. That point, that state is called intrinsic illusion. It means what? When the object is cognized, the illusion disappears. Since both don't coexist, what happens? When the object is understood, the illusion disappears. When the illusion appears, the object disappears. So you can see only one. Either you see reality or you see the illusion. The object and the image do not appear together. They can never appear together to the same person at the same time. This is intrinsic illusion. Again, I repeat. It can never appear together to the same person at the same time. Either one exists. Example that he gives is the post and the ghost. For intrinsic illusion, the example is the post and the ghost. The child misapprehends the post to be a ghost. The child sees the ghost. You do not see. You see the post. You see the post. Child sees the ghost. And when the child starts seeing the post, the ghost disappears. This is intrinsic illusion, the non-apprehension. The non-apprehension of the post. It is not seen as it is, something else is seen. Why do we say something else is seen? Because the child doesn't ask what it is. Child says, I am seeing a ghost. Correct? The child doesn't say, I don't understand what it is. child says, I am seeing something. It means something is seen. That is intrinsic illusion. Second one is extrinsic illusion. Understand them separately first. What is extrinsic illusion? Extrinsic illusion is three factors. The three factors of an illusion. What is it? The object, the image, and the medium that causes the image. Example of extrinsic illusion is reflection in a mirror. When you stand in front of the mirror, what reality you give to the image in the mirror? You see yourself in the mirror, correct? Because you see the reflection of yourself in the mirror, do you exist? Or because of you existing, the reflection is there on the mirror? I know I am here, sir. How? I saw myself in the mirror. Will you say that? You won't. So, you see your own reflection. Even though you see your reflection, you understand it differently. That is the extrinsic illusion. What is that extrinsic illusion? Three things are there together at the same time. In intrinsic illusion, what we saw? Only one at a time. In extrinsic illusion, all three together at the same time. What is all three together? You are there, your reflection is there, and the mirror is also there. Beautiful example to explain extrinsic illusion is the mirror. All three appear at the same time to one person. Correct? Are you able to follow? You know that you are there. You know that there is a reflection of your own self, and also you see the mirror. Because of the mirror, there is the so mirror is the reflecting medium. The image that you see is the reflection. You are real. The image of yourself is the reflection. And what is the reflecting medium because of which you are able to see the reflection? The reflecting medium. Mirror is the reflecting medium. So, where only one is seen and the other is not seen is intrinsic illusion. Where you see all the three present is extrinsic illusion. Understand the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic. Extrinsic is simultaneous. Intrinsic is only one. Up to this, it's very clear. The problem is when one and simultaneous happens together, what would you call that? The intrinsic and extrinsic play together. They play together. They have the same. They have the same. They have the same connection. What is it? They appear simultaneously. The most interesting and complicated phenomena about the illusion is the intrinsic and extrinsic happening together, simultaneously, instantaneously, sequentially. All happens at such a speed that we don't even understand how it happened. Okay, what is it now? For things to be seen together, snake and the rope. The famous Vedantic example of the snake and the rope. First condition is what? The boy treads on a rope in twilight. It's neither pitch dark nor brilliant light. You cannot call it as neither dark nor light. The boy treads on a rope, mistakes that for a snake. The first illusion happened. What is the first illusion? The intrinsic happened. What is intrinsic? The rope is gone, the snake has come. When we say rope is gone, there is no possibility of conceiving the existence of the rope. The snake is very real. Rope doesn't exist at all. That is intrinsic illusion. The snake is so real, so real, so real that any knowledge about a rope, that boy will not be able to comprehend, understand. That is the first play. What is the first play? Misunderstanding the rope to be a snake is intrinsic illusion. The intrinsic illusion. Now, where does extrinsic illusion come? You ask him, okay, first you tell him there is no snake, only rope. The boy cannot understand that. The boy cannot understand that. The boy cannot accept that. He cannot understand, he cannot accept. Now what he does, you help him out. When you help him out, ask him to describe the snake. You ask him to describe the snake. Carefully follow. You ask him to describe the snake which you don't see. He is describing the snake that you don't see. And what are you seeing? That is very important. What are you seeing? Rope. You are seeing the rope and you are asking the boy to describe the snake, and he is seeing and he is describing the snake which is not there while you are seeing the rope, and all description of the snake fits into the description of the rope. So he says 6 feet long, 4 inches thick, black in color. 6 feet long, sir. Black in color. 4 inches thick. Because of you seeing the rope, you can understand when he is describing the snake, where is he borrowing the qualities of the snake? From the rope. Correct? Extrinsic illusion. What is extrinsic illusion? When you stand in front of the mirror, the image, the reflection in the mirror borrows its properties from whom? From you, isn't it? If you appear brown in color there, you are brown in color. If you appear, okay, I don't want to say that. If I appear very fat, I am thin and fit, but the reflection in the mirror is fat. Can you say that? Will it happen? Ganesh, I am I am fit and slim, sir. Only the mirror, the reflection in the mirror is fat. Shankar, will it happen? I hope it happens, sir. How good it is if it happens. So I can only take the picture of the reflection and keep sending to everybody. I don't have to send my picture. So whatsoever you see in the mirror as your reflection, where does it take the attributes from? Where does it take the properties from? From you, the original standing in front of the mirror. You, the original standing in front of the mirror, is the one giving properties and attributes to the snake out there. Correct? You are the one who's giving it. Therefore, if you see a crooked nose, you understand? Your nose is crooked. Yeah. If you see a beautiful nose, you understand? You have a beautiful nose. That's all it is. Similarly, when the boy describes the snake, what is the description of the snake he is giving? 6 feet long, 4 inches thick, black in color. When he is giving this description, what is he actually describing? He is actually describing the rope. The properties of the rope have mirrored themselves in the illusory snake. The properties of the rope have mirrored themselves in the illusory snake. What is the medium? Mirror is the medium. The only where this is the only area where you have to stretch your intellect. In the case of you, the reflection and the mirror, versus what is the medium here? The snake itself becomes the medium. How? The moment the snake was projected upon the rope, the snake becomes the medium for the properties of the rope to appear as the properties of the snake at the same time. It is not that snake came first and then 3 days later the properties came, isn't it? When the snake appeared, which is the intrinsic illusion, along with that intrinsic illusion, the medium came, and when the medium came, the properties also came. Therefore, what happened? Remember this. The moment the snake was projected upon the rope, the snake becomes the medium for the properties of the rope and the properties of the snake to appear together at one time. Who says the properties of the snake is the property of the rope? Who's saying that? Not the one who's caught up in that illusion. The one who is not caught up is saying that. The one who is caught up in the illusion only says what? There is only snake, there is only properties of the snake. Human being, all three coexist. And human beings are caught up in both extrinsic, intrinsic, and extrinsic illusions in all experiences. In each and every experience that we go through, these two illusions play. How it plays, what it is and all, we will see it next week. That topic I am not starting today. Today, only the first 2 points. What are the first 2 points? God as a creator is removed. What is intrinsic illusion? What is extrinsic illusion? And how both play together. How both play together. All our experiences, the human beings are caught up in these two illusions. For the intrinsic and extrinsic happen simultaneously. The disappearance of the real and the appearance of the illusion is fast. And when the illusion appears, the properties also appears. And when the properties appear, where does it borrow the properties from? From the substratum. In English, we use the word substratum. In Sanskrit, we use the word adhishtanam. Bhagavad Gita, he uses the word adhishtanam. Rope is the adhishtanam. Snake is the illusion. So, what happens? The moment the snake was projected upon the rope, the properties of the rope, properties of the snake together at one time. It appears together at one time to the one who has crossed the illusion. For the one who is caught up in the illusion, they see only one. What? The snake as real. The properties of the snake is original to the snake and it has not borrowed it from anything else. So a layperson sees the illusory world as an independent entity, and all the properties and qualities and all that we experience in the world, just as the boy misunderstands snake is an independent entity with its own properties, attributes, qualities, we also misunderstand our experiences, the world as an independent entity with its own properties, attributes and qualities. Okay, with reference to the snake and rope, it is very clear. What is it with reference to Brahman and the world? Brahman is the rope, Nama Rupa is the illusion. Snake and rope is very clear, sir, but snake and rope is slowly, don't pass, don't keep passing time. Clear? Then how does it translate into our real experience? Brahman is the rope, Nama Rupa is the world. So we are caught up in Nama Rupa. You penetrate, you filter Nama Rupa, you go into Maya. You transcend Maya, you hit Brahman. That's why in the 7th chapter, what we are studying, first he spoke about Yoga Maya as the first cause. In the second cause, he said Nama Rupa, the intrinsic and the extrinsic. First he said Yoga Maya, correct? In the 7th chapter that we were studying. But sir, we are all very wonderful students. When we study Bhagavad Gita, we only study Bhagavad Gita. When we study Vedanta, we study only Vedanta. We don't mix up textbook like this. Why are you mixing it up? Venkatachalam. Such a coincidence that we are reading all this together at the same time. So, and when he said Yoga Maya as the cause, the intrinsic illusion, which is difficult to comprehend, then he went on to say, what did he say? The Dvandva Moha. What is the Dvandva Moha? Pairs of opposites, Nama Rupa. So, first when we go back, Nama Rupa, we cross the Nama Rupa and see Brahman everywhere. Partial realization. Savikalpa Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is where there is no seer, there is no seen, only one. Advaitam. Advitiyam. Ekameva Advitiyam. Mahavakya of the Upanishad. Ekam eva Advitiyam. Ekameva Advitiyam. Vijay. Idenga packet rukra. Ekameva Advitiyam Mahavakya. Where did you hear this? Anybody gives correct answer, they can give a lecture next week. Where did you hear this Mahavakya? Ekameva Dvitiyam. Anybody? Shankar? கேட்டதில்ல? Where? Rajinikanth, Baba movie. போய் பாருங்க அதை. Srinivasan, see that. Ekameva Dvitiyam. It's a Mahavakya of the Upanishad, sir. Ekam eva advitiyam. Advitiyam means non-two. What is that non-two? The intrinsic illusion is crossed. First is you cross the extrinsic illusion. That is Savikalpa Samadhi. I'm going to elaborate all this in the next classes also. Yeah. But why leave it, such a beautiful thought, why leave it unattended? So I'm taking another 5 minutes and connecting it, which you will redo it again. In case if you don't come, you are all coming, only I am not coming. No. Only I am not coming. Therefore, we will finish that also. When you cross the extrinsic, that is partial realization called Savikalpa Samadhi. And when you cross the intrinsic, that is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. What is removal of partial? Nama Rupa is gone. You see Brahman. You see divine everywhere. That is only called partial realization. Why? Because the fundamental duality is there. What is the fundamental duality? There is the seer seeing God. You cross that also. Nirvikalpa. Ekam eva dvitiyam. Ekam eva advitiyam. From that advitiyam comes Advaitam. Advitiyam word length vandada Advaita. Upanishads use Ekam eva dvitiyam. Ekam eva advitiyam. No divisions, no demarcations, no nothing. It's not that he sees God everywhere. There is only God. There is only God. In Vedanta, we understand God as Prajna. Prajnanam Brahma. Wherever we use the word God in Vedanta, what is the definition of God? Prajnanam Brahma. The first Mahavakya. Consciousness. That I am, which can exist without any of the property. The properties cannot exist without somebody arrogating it, but the I can exist without any of the properties. That is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Self-realized masters are those who have reached the state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Most of the dualistic religions takes you to Savikalpa Samadhi. Partial realization they will take you to. All the dualistic religions takes you up to Savikalpa, they can take you, partial realization. But the seer will be there seen. The division will still exist. What is the division? The seer and the seen. The devotee and the God. That division will exist. Eternally it will exist. Vedanta goes one step deeper and says, Ekameva Advitiyam. Meaning, you cross the intrinsic illusion also. That is the state of Savikalpa Samadhi. This is the entire topic. Next week also we are going to continue. Where I will continue is, snake and rope example is fine, sir. But what is this? How does this play of Maya and Nama Rupa comes about? So when you understand the play of Maya and Nama Rupa, when you are working backwards, what do you work on first? The Nama Rupa you work on first. And then you work on the Maya. So what do? You cross Savikalpa, you attain Nirvikalpa. This is the topic. The two illusions, intrinsic illusion and extrinsic illusion, which we will continue next week also. With this, we conclude for